Hello and welcome to CNEWS. I am Sri Sudhanar and I will be conducting the interview for today. Today we have with us Professor L K Maheswary. Professor Maheswary joined BITS Pilani at the age of 20 in the year 1965 as a student. After completing his MS in electronics and PhD degrees from the institute, he joined the institute as a lecturer in 1971 and has devoted his whole career for the cause of education and research in the field of electronics and instrumentation. He served BITS in various capacities and completed his term as the Vice Chancellor of the internationally well-known institute. He has been inspiring generations of students in shaping their careers and promoting the cause of entrepreneurship in Pilani and its surrounding areas. He settled a trust to promote the cause of education and research in the field of electronics and instrumentation and other allied areas in the name and style of Professor L K Maheswary Foundation. It is an honor to have you with us, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhanath, very much.
Yeah.
I am extremely happy to be here at the Christ University. This is my first visit to your university, and I find it's a very enjoying campus, particularly with a lot of greenery, trees, and other things. So it's a fantastic environment for studies for the students. And I am happy that you are doing a very good job, and this particular initiative of film making is a very encouraging situation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, sir, what do you think are the challenges of higher education in India?
If I just tell in one sentence, according to me, the challenges of higher education is to create stakes for all stakeholders in the system of higher education, namely students, the employers, and the institutions. And how it has to be brought in, I think, is a matter of discussion by each institution in their own way. Each institution has its own history, own people, and a type of students which they cater to. So keeping that in mind, a stakes has to be created so that society thinks that without higher education they cannot sustain. That is my view particularly.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in fostering and shaping young minds, what do you think is the role of an educational institution?
Education institutions really develop a character of their own, and they influence the young minds very much. Take, for example, my institute in which I worked almost 40 years, Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani. It was simply a village. Pilani is a village, actually. And G.D. Birla and his brothers were born there. And in that village of Rajasthan, which is not even having roads properly, no connectivity, no train station, still I think it is rated as one of the top institutions in the country, among the first 10 in the country. So what is it that makes an institution? An institution develops a culture where the young minds are shaped well. So institutions particularly are impressed by the transparency of the system, by the devotion of the teachers, by the commitment of the management, and generally the goodwill of all the people. That is what I think shapes the young students also, and they are brought into that culture. For example, if you take Pilani, the culture of Pilani has been such that we have admissions based totally on merit. There is no quota of anybody, though we are a private institution. All admissions are on merit basically, and today the admissions are based on the examination called as BITSET, in which students write a computerized online test. It started in 2005, and till this year we did not have any problem in conducting that test, though if you recall the history, when IIM introduced the test, online test, there were problems to begin with. But BITS Pilani is so meticulously planned with the help of outside partners and our own people that this has worked very well. So is true for evaluation system. It is highly transparent. We teach our own children, our own sons and daughters, but they get whatever they deserve. So students are having faith in the system in which total transparency is maintained, and that is what it likes. Another feature is there, the linkages with the world of work. When I say world of work, it means industry, R&D organizations, it means the government institutions, it means any place where activities are there. The linkage of education with that world of work has to be there. That is what makes an institution has its own culture, and that influences the young mind.
Thank you, Professor. Is there a direct link between education and national identity?
Certainly. For example, if you go to any country particularly United States and Canada and all that. If you say that you are from BITS Pilani, BITS Pilani in India, so naturally the institution and the country also go together, and you have a sort of a stamping that you come from a good institution. So you have, for example, a sort of a plus effect on that. For example, somebody coming from ISC Bangalore certainly has a feature in which somebody knows that is the best institution in the country and also rated amongst a few best institutions in the world. So I think institutions really have a kind of a stamping on the students when they belong to that institutions.
Thank you, sir. That was enlightening. Can you tell us a little bit about Professor L K Maheswary Foundation?
Well, the idea came from the following thought. I served Pilani right from my young age. I was admitted to Pilani as a student at the age of 20. Then I completed my M.Tech and PhD in 71. And since 71, I had been teaching students electronics, instrumentation, measurement courses, and other courses in technology. And I, in fact, grew with Pilani. So while my term was getting completed in 2010 as Vice Chancellor, I thought it is my duty to do something for the students also. So it was with that motivation that I got a trust established with the name of Professor L K Maheswary Foundation, and I got it registered under the Societies Act and also under Income Tax Act of the Government of India. And the idea was following: this trust essentially, which is called as a foundation, will identify alumni who have contributed best in the profession of electrical electronics engineering. That was number one. Number two, it will identify best girl student of the year. Number three, best student of the year. It will fund projects of the students when they put a lot of exhibitions and they fall short of money. Then this trust can fund there. And then they also identify other areas of travel grants to students, because students find difficulty to get travel grants. So this trust can also, if they apply to the trust, then the trust can essentially fund them to a limited scale. I personally gave 2 lakhs rupees to the trust establishment, but today the whole capital of the trust has become almost 25 lakhs rupees, and a lot of students contributed, a lot of people in the village of Pilani contributed, a lot of people from other walks of society contributed, and this trust essentially is not run by me, though I'm a founder trustee, but the director of the institute at any point of time is the chairman of the trust, and the secretary is the head of the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation. They manage the whole thing, and there is a committee which meets periodically and decides its future course of action. So I was just the initiator, but I should give the credit to the people who are managing it there, and they are beautifully managing. 6 or 7 best alumni who are best people in their own profession in the world. I think they have been recognized, and they have come to Pilani, lecture to the young minds, motivate them to do higher studies, motivate them to do entrepreneurship and similar activities. So this trust is a small effort in the direction of encouraging young minds to foster in their life and do best. That is the idea of the trust here. And God's grace, it is running well, and it is doing its job properly. And I am sure they are going to bring out a booklet which will tell the last 7-8 years of the trust established in 2010.
Thank you, sir. Professor, do you think that the traditional ways of assessing a student should be revamped, especially in our country?
Assessment happens, in fact, of not only students, of anybody every day. Right now the assessment is essentially based on a teacher setting a question paper, then you are answering the question paper, and if you are well on that day and you have crammed up the thing, then you can do well. But I think it has to be basically a continuous evaluation in which every day you are assessed in your activities, and there should be less emphasis on one examination only, because the whole important thing is your attitude in life and how do you essentially tackle problems of society at large. So young students, I think, are very enthusiastic these days. I find a couple of them involved in a lot of social activities everywhere in my institute, other institutions I have seen here. They want to do something with the society, and given the idea of a problem, they are eager to solve that problem in best possible way by making their own teams. And I think I am very optimistic of the young people of this country, and assessment of them can not be only based on the traditional method of the teacher setting a question paper and they answering. But given unknown problems, and how do they solve it? There may be two teams' approaches may be different, but ultimately they try to solve the problem, and they have to be assessed for their leadership, their teamwork, and their clarity of thoughts, their expression in terms of written and spoken English or any other language. I think they have to be assessed on multiple kind of parameters. And as an individual, I have seen students who have not been so good in scoring grades or what is called as the CGPA, but they have excelled in life. And I think the evaluation has to be such that it brings out all features of the students in their evaluation process here. And when they work on problems of society, I think their best comes out as a leader, as a team worker, as a person who can having analytical skill, a person who can read things very fast, who can do some skills by their own hand. So it has to be a comprehensive idea in terms of assessing a student.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of C Interview. This is Sri Sudan signing off.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.